Welcome back to part 38 of Justice for All.
Except me.
Welcome back to part 38. That kind of implies we've done this part already.
Have we?
No, we haven't.
Welcome back to the LP.
Oh, you mean like... Oh, okay, I get you now.
We're back to the past, basically.
Better LP than MLP, whatever.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime.
Siri, I'd love to hear your attempt at German accent, actually.
Oh.
Come on, dweebs, don't...
Oh, God, no.
Sure, go ahead.
One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this, and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I can't do German. I can't do accents. The clown saw the murderer. Who was it then?
I don't know, Shiroi. For a Welshwoman, you do a pretty good English accent. Take that!
That's
saw
because I
Max
spent a lot of time with English people.
That's the joke.
I asked who was the other person. The evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Liar! It has everything to do with it. Objection! Au contraire, mon frère. It does indeed have
Random
something to do with
French
the
for no reason.
question.
Oh, really, Phoenix? Every time I come back from England, my mom's like, "You've got that accent again."
Yeah.
Mo said he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw.
It's really bad when Welsh people have to ask where I'm from.
It's simple, really.
Is it?
What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
I keep reading that as Moe. What are you talking about? Have you tried to see it all in this place?
More than anyone else here.
The silhouette you saw just happened to be wearing a cloak.
Oh boy.
Objection! There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to a bust. Or a cloak like that could easily get snagged on the bust if they came into contact.
Yes, in a correct position
You know what,
to show almost a silhouette.
Idiots! Oh. Who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust?
Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust?
Well, it wasn't really so much...
That question is of the utmost importance to this case. Don't you agree?
Maybe.
Oh! But it's not so much, someone putting it, but... Fine, I'll explain this.
So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who puts the cloak on the bust?
Didn't put the cloak on the bust, you... Oh, whatever. Take that!
Fool! Him?
You're saying it was the victim himself? Russell Berry?
I'm
Yes,
not...
Russell was kind of a weirdo that way.
That's what I'm saying. Not really.
I mean, the victim himself placed the cloak on the bust?
I don't know.
No. At least the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. That would be just too stupid.
Like, there's I can't even, and then there's forgetting how to
the right
even.
way of putting it, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, the first time I ever forgot how to even was when I first saw that leaked scene from Rise of Lyric. Oh, okay.
Explain yourself!
Nick, do you really
And that
have
was
a handle
everyone-
on all of this?
And that was what everyone said to Sager at that time.
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together, despite
Are
how
you sure
inane
about
things
this,
are
Phoenix?
getting. And there's really only one picture I can paint anyways. Unfortunately, it's only gonna get more topsy-turvy from here. Alright, so you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time.
To get
Back in time.
Akko used a rope to lower the wooden box on the scene.
Oh god.
Oh, these
There's
silly.
music.
Here we go.
Then he attached that rope to the bus.
I hate it.
Pedro, do you want to hear the song more and more in a future game?
No! Well, okay, if used
It's
right,
muted.
it's
My
fine.
video's muted.
Well, I trust that That orchestra will play a much better rendition of it.
If it's any consolation, Pedro, Yamazaki uses that music too. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait for him in the room, and they went to the crime scene, of course at the time wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house.
How nice.
By none other than a ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trilo.
Oh.
Gotta love these puns.
Hey, it's their names. Don't blame me if they write the jokes themselves.
It's okay, I
That's
love
when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now, this is when the quote-unquote magic happens.
Fuck you, game.
At the very instant that the bust hit the victim.
Do you really need to put in a drum roll for this? It just makes it sound more stupid.
Just
I wait to hear your explanations.
Drum roll, please. Yeah.
So yeah, because of the cloak just happened to snag itself on the bus. Because that could happen, right?
Actually, it can happen,
in
Pedro.
a perfect position to create a silhouette.
How convenient, right?
You wait just a second. That's right.
Also, that
What
implies.
even is this?
Also, that implies that Russell did not tie himself the cape to his
As much
Yeah.
as you try,
The odds of this happen, yeah.
as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be.
That
Okay,
said, I
it's-
will give this
it-
case
it-
credit. It is a lot more likely than a lot of the plot twists they try to pull in that crossover. Now that stuff is downright impossible. This, on the other hand, actually could happen in real life.
It's just a bit.
This
Guys,
is
you're
just
just making me
incredibly
more and
lucky.
more curious, and I know we won't get to that
Alright,
for a
Jovah,
little while.
I think I get the difference. This game, the stuff that happens in here.
Hey,
is
I get
just-
it. Jesus
Hang on,
Christ.
hang on.
Hold on, hold on.
Let me finish.
Oh wait, hold on, Dweeb's story. The circus isn't over yet.
Here is a lot. It's plenty of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, it was the dark end that covered the face, and that's why it looked like it. With the shock of impact, it threw up the cloak, and it got snagged onto the bust. And to
Okay,
give credit, when it comes to Mo, he saw it from a distance away. Whereas with Acro, he's just blatantly lying.
Okay,
So
Phoenix,
I can
present your
actually-
evidence that the cloak did indeed snag itself onto the bust.
We're getting to that part later. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Mo Curls, the clown. When Mo looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust.
Silly Pedro, we don't need evidence, we just need belief and disbelief.
No, Shiroi, we are not going down that road again. Now, having completed the crime, Akram naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon.
Flew
Just-
away.
But why did Mo didn't saw the whatever?
The wire.
No. Yeah, even that.
The wire was thin but strong, the sort of stuff that acrobats use. Or, for props and whatnot. Primarily because of his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up.
That's what he said.
Ooh.
Ah, fuck you.
And that is how the magical murderer disappearing into the sky came to be. With a
Fuck this.
heck
I
of a
just,
lot of luck.
Hey. Well, of course,
No
I mean,
one
you
is
should all
believing.
know, like, the existence of magic is to prove the non-explainable.
And now you know who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the scene.
And knowing is half the battle.
Acro, it could only have been you!
The rest of it
Unless
is just
someone else
coming
was
to
hiding
terms
there.
with it.
G.I. Joe.
So not... Okay.
Acro's been playing mind games with all of us.
Like a damn fiddle.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think Phoenix is the one playing mind games right now.
He sure is. Actually, no. Phoenix is just doing whatever he can to make sense of all this. I mean, it's not like anyone else here is actually trying, mind you.
They played us like
So?
a damn fiddle.
What now?
You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale.
That's putting it mildly.
Mhm.
That's why I said it like that. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true?
Thank you.
Here we come down to it.
And this is where we're all on her side.
Nah. Basically, Phoenix will present evidence eventually, and trust me, Franziska will look all the more stupid by the end.
In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my will.
What about due
Don't forget the
process?
power of my gavel as well.
Then you guess wait.
Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence?
Nick, they said they want evidence.
I heard the first 2 times, Maya. Just explain
rushing
how there
murder?
can only be one possible murder method. But there is still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness account. That is the place to strike.
Unusual?
Yes, consider it unusual by even our standards. A
Unusual is
contradiction.
putting the situation
Actually,
mildly.
Okay then, use that and get out of this jam.
Finally.
Jam.
That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright.
With pleasure, Your Honor.
Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case.
So, what are we gonna do? Jovah?
You'll see.
Any
Take
time?
that!
Oh,
The problem is Max's free symbols.
Oh boy, okay, Roddy,
Here we go.
You know, the
Hang on,
silk
guys.
hat, the cloak, and the
The
white
cloak,
roses.
Close.
And the
White
white
roses.
roses.
The symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings.
just
This is like
yesterday.
everyone reciting the plot to a Mario
Yesterday,
game.
there were 2 contradictions in Mo's testimony.
Silk hat was one. The white roses were the other.
Hmm?
One of these things is not like the
But the
other.
theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions. Time for a recap.
Oh
It's
god.
recap time.
You fool. Do you even shut up?
Lady, if I had shut up, your adopted brother would have been found guilty. Anywho, Max's silk hat was found on the scene. However, remember what Mo said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. And it didn't move or fall off. And there's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust.
Again, how convenient.
Well, it actually is proof. I mean, you know, if they have Max's hat there,
Makes sense.
that wouldn't
If you look
explain
at
how
it
it
that
fell.
way, They did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Objection! Fine, you've got one, but what about the other contradiction?
There is still a contradiction.
Shut up.
The other contradiction?
I'm sorry, Von Karma. Does this contradiction? Nah, I'm too good for that.
Remember what that ventriloquist said in court.
Oh,
that
you mean the
Mr. Wright?
other witness I...
That's very rude.
Well, sure.
Oh, that's still me. Okay. He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's whatever, but the clown's testimony doesn't match.
Wouldn't that mean that hurts your case more than mine?
Details.
Technically,
Remember-
Our prosecution, everyone! Our prosecution! I'm sorry, what was that about siding with her?
Clown said that there were no white roses. That's because he was looking at him from behind.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see you try and explain that one away.
Wow! Am I really the only one in this court who knows that obvious one?
Can you do it, Nick?
Yes.
Of course, I can explain all of it. Because, you know, I
I
actually
think
checked
Phoenix
the
has been
court record.
reading too much Harry Potter as well, honestly. What was that?
Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Harry Potter. I actually read Artemis Fowl. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? And remember, it was a dark silhouette.
It's a
You
very
get it
grim
yet?
picture, isn't it?
If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, then it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Makes sense since everyone has said that they saw Max on the back, so of course it was the back of his cloak. Are you telling me you didn't think of that, Von Karma? Which explains why Mo didn't see it. Well, just like
everyone else is just completely silent.
So just like Turnabout Samurai, this is pretty much Franziska's Tronga Conga line. Trauma Conga line.
Order! Order! Ah!
So now what? Can we go home now?
This is quite the shocking state of affairs.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me.
Ignoring the fact that the prosecution
Well,
has...
what's the most absurd? The Phoenix
However,
theory on the fact that the
let's just-
witnesses
let's-
were flying.
Let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads.
Let's do this, Nick. Then maybe Von Kara will finally throw in the towel. Yes, we're going to throw her stupidity at her until she finally gives up.
Excuse me, our stupidity? Maya, you're the one infected with Turnabout Big Top Syndrome, not me.
Well, so much for that theory
You
then.
handled the stupid Von Kana.
And yeah, like Tio said. So let me get this straight. Phoenix's theory is absurd, yet the idea that that the defendant flew away... Oh, no, that's just A-okay. Morons! You inconsistent, hypocritic morons!
I wouldn't be so hard on it if the case at least did what other Phoenix Wright cases and distract me with entertaining characters. But I don't like any the characters in this case.
I like some characters in this
Well,
case.
you said you like
yeah.
Ben.
Okay. Those are the only characters from this case that I like, actually.
For me, I actually-
I think you're off track.
Why is that?
Honestly, the whole situation with this could bring about, like, in theory, some very interesting and touching moments, but everything's just a comic relief, and it's really stupid.
It does bring some touching moments, however, that's mainly having to do in retrospect, since, characters actually get to develop and we see it in later games.
I think I've got it.
What?
Because he couldn't see anybody, maybe he meant to kill someone else.
Very good, Dwibs.
That is totally not relating to the fact that we've already seen this part, I swear.
Don't worry, Dwibs, I'll edit it out in
Stop
post.
demolishing the fourth wall!
Huh?
I keep having to fix that. Thus, there is absolutely no way someone like that would kill the Ringmaster.
Well, Shiro, in that case, you're gonna have a lot of fixing to do when we get back to the Metal Gear series. Absolutely. Infinite ammo.
Look, that wall is being held together by duct tape right now.
I'm not even kidding.
Ooh.
Okay, but
Anyway, back to the story.
Learn
ahead.
about his relationship with the Ringmaster and his life up until now.
You're stalling.
Dwibs, take over with the gym for a second.
Okay.
there's no doubting that Acro deeply respected the Ringmaster.
Yeah. No doubt whatsoever. Akra's motive. It always comes down to that.
It seems that this case isn't over yet, unfortunately.
I just-
Returned.
At this point,
Oh,
at this
sure,
point, I
this
just
is
want
a
to
good-
move.
I feel this is a good place to take a break.
Agreed, Your
Well,
Honor.
thank you, Your Honor.
I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after recess.
What he said.
I need a fucking drink. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.
If I wasn't
Yes.
as ill as I was, I'd be drinking right now.
What are you doing?
Away.
A 10-minute recess? No, man.
Who's channeling Von Karma?
Someone, I guess.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
Ah, see right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I could have
Oops,
said
I left
someone
that
else,
in.
but I'm better.
What's
there
with
you
the
are.
fan art, Jova?
Oh yeah,
There
you
you
guys
go.
asked to see if there was ever any fan art of Pearl and Maya channeling men, and there you go. Pearl channeling
No,
Von
I
Karma,
didn't ask
and
to see
Maya
it.
channeling Gregory Edgeworth.
I never asked for
I
this.
love Von Karma's expression there. Says it all.
Yeah.
And you sure I was maybe granting Pedro's request.
Hashtag thanks me, I guess.
Hashtag thanks Pedro.
Well,
so
we'll see you
audience-
in the next part, guys.
Audience, if you need some eye bleach, I will buy some for you.
All right, see you, everybody.
Hi, Bleach.
Yeah.
See ya.